Yeah, and a lot of people have the cameras capturing not just the shaking, but also the noise. And just someone who grew up here in Southern California, you know that an earthquake, you know it's possible at any time, but when a strong one does hit, it still kind of catches you off guard. Let's go ahead and turn over to Marie Coronel, also who grew up here in Southern California. So this is something that we've experienced before, but it still is a little unsettling when it happens.
Absolutely. And I went to Cal State Northridge. Now, I wasn't there for that earthquake, but you could still, as you were there, you heard about what happened. You also know what that changed on campus and how people were working to stay prepared in case another big one hit. Of course, here in San Diego, as we mentioned, as you heard Dr. Pat Abbott mention, now that the earthquake is over and we are having the aftershocks, the other issue is thinking about the damage and how to protect yourself. And as looking on X, we are seeing from the Governor Newsom's press account that the governor has been briefed on the earthquake here in San Diego County, and the state is coordinating with local authorities to assess any damage and if emergency response is needed. So at this point, it is unclear whether we have seen any damage. I know our crews are out there. They are working to get that information. And again, as you see, the governor of California has already been notified, and he is coordinating with the local agencies to assess any possible damage, Mel.
All right, Marie, and we are hearing some preliminary reports of some potential damage at businesses. We are working to get that video. We're also getting alerts from the various schools in the county, just basically on what they are doing. We did get an alert here from San Diego State that's saying that they were aware of what was going on and they are assessing for any damage. Also got an alert from some of the South Bay schools. Just got one from the Chula Vista Elementary School District that all safety protocols were followed during the earthquake. Everyone is safe. And of course, just as parents, we want to make sure all the kids are safe. I know some of the young ones might have been a little rattled. I know I just got an alert from my youngest, his teacher, saying that they did the drill. All the kiddos did great. So that's good to hear. And hopefully there is no major damage at any of our schools throughout the county. Right now, you're taking a look here at USGS. And what you can see on the side, you're seeing some of the smaller aftershocks ranging anywhere between 2.7, we see a 2.5 there, to 3.5. 3.5 is one of the larger ones that we have experienced as far as one of the larger aftershocks. There have been several, but at last check, it looks like that the planes, they are still landing. We also saw that there was no tsunami warning that was going to come out of this. We do have Dr. Pat Abbott again joining us by phone here at 1040. Dr. Abbott, are you there? Okay, we're working on getting him. Let's go ahead and go back to Marie Coronel, who has been monitoring a lot of the information coming in online. Marie.
So, Mel, as we were talking about, the next stage is assessing for damage. Looking at the San Diego County Sheriff's Department's X page, they, within the last 3 minutes, tweeted this out saying, update at this time, San Diego Sheriff has not received any reports of injuries or major damage caused by the earthquake. This, of course, is a developing situation, but at this point, the San Diego County Sheriff's Department is not aware of any damage or injuries. We, of course, will continue to monitor what they're posting on social media, which, might I say, has actually been a very great tool. It's real information in real time that people are able to relay to the public. So this obviously is something that we will be keeping an eye on as we continue to sort through all of this in terms of the earthquake and the aftermath. Mel.
All right, yeah, and we are monitoring all the messages and all the alerts that we are getting from various schools.
All right, so let me see if I can find you guys some videos and stuff like that. Colin Rugg, I guess he lives out there because he said that he felt his building shaking. He originally reported 6.7 magnitude, but now I guess he's being corrected at 5.2. So let me update that too as well in the title, 5.2. I guess maybe that's the correct numbers. I'll have to update the thumbnail when I have a chance, but earthquake, they did show one video. I want to see some more videos of people's houses shaking. I've never been in an earthquake. You guys ever been in one before? Sir Dexter saying 6.0. Raw Lurch is saying 5.2. Somebody, Benny is saying 6.7. I guess depending on where you look is what they're telling you. Earthquake.
Viewers watching. We had someone in Alpine who just emailed me saying that he thought his place was going to shake off of the foundation, that this quake in particular, it was really loud and it lasted a very long time. Yeah, and I mean, it did, again, catch some people off guard as this one happened in the middle of the day while many people are at their offices. You're taking a look here at Julian. This is near where the epicenter was, and since that earthquake struck earlier this morning, 4 kilometers south of Julian, we have seen several smaller aftershocks.
Okay, this media site's this site's saying 5.2. So is this anything? You guys has been through this. Is this like a hold my beer situation, or is it like, oh shit? 6.7 was downgraded to 5.2. Okay. Is this like us with the hurricanes at category 1 and 2 are just kind of like meh?
Rainbow Rabbit Hole donated $50 through Super Chat. Compared to the Sylmar quake, this one felt like a kiddie ride.
Oh, you were there?
Did shake for a very long time and was loud.
Oh, Rainbow, thank you for the 50. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for the year membership. It did shake for a very long time and was loud. All right, so the Cali people were saying this is not really big thing. This is nothing. Okay. Hey, Anna. Okay, this is nothing. They reported maybe a little bit of damage. Maybe there's some damage, even though officials said they haven't heard any damage. There might have been a little bit of damage, but this is not like anything catastrophic. It's not a catastrophic thing. The official number, I guess, from what I'm seeing from what you guys are saying on Twitter, 5.2. Even actually, somebody else said downgraded to 5.1. So we get the idea. It's in the fives, lower fives. So here, Scanner Antelope posted a map of it. You can kind of see this here, a little map of the different 5.2 here in the middle. Pine Hills. I don't know what part of Cali is this. I guess up north. Oh, San Diego. Okay, San Diego County. So 5.2, and then it kind of disperses and goes lower.
Emergency line, but if it is not an emergency, law enforcement agencies are asking you to call the non-emergency line. Mel.
All right, Marie, and we are just getting some information here from San Diego State. An alert from the university said that there was no damage or injuries that have been reported on the campus at this time. Of course, the university is continuing to assess that. Classes at SDSU and also the Imperial Valley campus, they remain open. But like Marie mentioned, if there is an emergency, of course, call 911. If there is not, you might want to hold off on that because, of course, our emergency responders are busy during this time. It looks fairly calm, right? Yeah. As you take a live look here at downtown Julian, we see a mix of the sun and the clouds at 10:46 right now. But this is near where the epicenter was. That 5.2 earthquake felt across the county here, also up in LA and through Temecula. I know, speaking with my relatives here in the county, they thought at some point someone was trying to get in the home because it was shaking so much. This one in particular was really loud. Of course, we are on air for you. If you want to share your experiences, please feel free to shoot me an email. We're going to be on air just bringing you live updates as far as the aftermath of this earthquake. We are getting some reports of some minor damage reported at some local businesses. We are working to get that video to bring that to you here on air. All right, we are working on getting some of our emergency responders on the phone with us to give you an update on where they stand right now. And I think it's also important for our viewers to understand the protocol as well with what our emergency responders do, because when situations like this happen, you do have to know they have a plan in place, they are prepared, and they do go through the steps just to make sure that everything is safe. Live look at Julian right now. I believe we are working to get CAL FIRE on the phone. Do we have CAL FIRE on the phone just yet?
They got rid of that lady.
Okay. All right, we do have CAL FIRE on the phone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. And if you can go ahead and just explain, first of all, basically, what does your agency do at this time?
Yeah, we have a set policy and procedure in place for earthquakes that reach a certain magnitude. So currently our firefighters are assessing our facilities for damage. We're pulling our fire apparatus out of the bay, so we make sure that that the fire engine and our crew are safe. And then our firefighters are going to go around the local area and do a windshield survey to make sure there's no damage or any hazards that need to be taken care of.
You got it. And fortunately, we do not experience earthquakes here every day, but they are often enough that, of course, we need to be prepared. How often do you practice or go through something like this just to make sure your agency is ready for the real thing?
Yeah, we go through routine training every so often just to make sure that we are ready for the next disaster, such as earthquakes. So it's not something we train on regularly, but it is something that we do have in policy. So when we do get that jolt, that we're able to look at our policies and procedures and go down that checklist.
And can you, just from a personal perspective, explain kind of where you were when this was happening and how it felt? And I'm sorry, I didn't remember what location you were when this earthquake happened.
Yeah, I was actually in the Cuyamaca area, so I was close to the epicenter. We were given a presentation at one of the school camps, and so we did feel the jolt. It was lasted quite a long time. I'm not sure exactly how long it was, just because the time is kind of skewed there, but we were up in that area, and it was really great to see that the school had their policies and procedures set in place. The staff jumped into action. Though there were no students there, everybody was accounted for, and it was a safe operation.
All right, and I know that you guys prepare for things like this, and it's good to see that the plans are in place and that they were enacted safely. Mike Cornett with CAL FIRE. Can you just explain? I know you mentioned this a little earlier. Right now, we're looking at some video here. This is from Mountain Spirit Liquor, just some minor damage. If you can reiterate, Mike, what you're going to be doing the next several hours, even the next few days.
Yeah, we're going to be. Our crews right now are out doing their windshield survey, so I'm sure out in the Julian area where I am right now, our crews are going to be visiting the different businesses and making sure that there's no hazards and trying to keep our public safe. And over the next couple days, we're going to make sure that we keep vigilant and be ready for the next jolt if there are any aftershocks.
Yeah, well, let's hope there's not another large jolt, but I know CAL FIRE and our other emergency crews are all prepared just in case that does happen. All right, Mike Cornett with CAL FIRE, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. And for our viewers right now, we're just getting some new video here. Again, this is Mountain Spirit Liquor, and there was some minor damage done, and you can see some of the bottles there on the floor, and hopefully that's the extent of it. But again, it's still early on. I know some businesses are just checking just to make sure all their water and gas lines and everything like that is in place, but we do see some inventory here at this liquor store that did spill to the ground. Of course, as we get new video, we will continue to share with you throughout this morning. We do have Marie Coronel standing by with new information that she is monitoring as well. Marie.
Mel, as you were talking about you looking at the utilities, the gas lines, I pulled up the SDG&E website and the outage center, and they are reporting an outage in the Julian Santa Isabel area. This was reported around 10:18, which of course was after the earthquake. At this point, we know there are 490 customers that are out of power. Now, it does have an estimated restoration at 1:30 this afternoon, but as far as the cause, it's saying the cause of the outage is unknown and is still under investigation. But of course, this happened after that earthquake was reported. We, of course, will continue to monitor SDG&E's outage website to see if any other residents will be impacted. Mel.
Another thing that we'll keep a close eye on there Marie reporting for us in the live center. It is almost 11 o'clock, and many of you, thank you for those who have been communicating with me through social media and my email as well. And many of you have been sending us videos. We're working to get that on air for you. We do have one video of just the shaking in Escondido, and you can hear just how loud it was. Let's go ahead and take that. Yeah, this one was a pretty loud one, and so many people have cameras inside of their homes, so a lot of you capturing the noise and some of the shaking. Again, this one was in Escondido, and the thing with this earthquake is that it was felt here not only throughout San Diego County, but also I have friends up in LA who are texting me as well, seeing if we're all okay. Thank you again to everyone who has been checking in. We are doing fine here. It was definitely a little bit of a shock, of course. It happened in the middle of the day. A lot of you, or many of you, are either watching us from home or from school, and so it happened right in the middle of the day, kind of interrupting your plans. It was quite loud, as we have heard from several people. Again, the governor has issued a statement on the earthquake, and Governor Newsom has been briefed. The state is coordinating with local authorities to assess any damage and if emergency response is needed. You heard Mike with CAL FIRE earlier just talk a little bit about the protocol when it comes to earthquakes. Anytime there is an earthquake, what the fire stations typically will do just to make sure everything is safe is that they'll take the fire apparatus out of the buildings so that they can properly assess, just to make sure everything is okay, because we need to make sure that our emergency responders are safe before they can help others. We are getting some new video in. I believe this is from El Cajon. This is from Jerry, and just a lot of the cameras. I think we can get the picture here. This one really had a good shake to it. Again, this one is from El Cajon, where you can hear it and you can also see the camera shaking. We did show you some minor damage from a business, a liquor store that unfortunately had some of its inventory spill. This is from Mountain Spirit Liquor. So thank you to Dylan for sending us this video. And I really do hope everything else is safe beyond the video that we are seeing here. We're getting a lot of alerts in from our school districts. I want to thank all of of course, the teachers for keeping all of the kids safe, because I know some kids are out on spring break, like Marie mentioned, but I know many others are currently in school. And this happened at peak school time. So a little after 10 o'clock. I'm sure some of the younger kids were a little nervous, but our teachers, of course, keeping them safe. I did get an alert from my teachers who had mentioned that they did the drills and all the kids did okay. Again, 5.2 earthquake felt across San Diego County. You can see here from our USGS map that following that earthquake, there were several aftershocks. 5.2, the biggest one here, and then I'm looking at the current map. It looks like one of the more recent smaller aftershocks was a 2.5. That's 4 kilometers south of Julian. And one of the bigger ones was epicentered about 7 kilometers southeast of Borrego Springs. But there have been several, of course, wouldn't be surprised as this continues here throughout the day. We are also updating all of our information because, again, a lot of information is coming in as some folks begin to check out their businesses, assess if they have any damage. We are updating all of that on our website, 10news.com. This earthquake, again, struck a little after 10 o'clock. And thank you to all of our viewers for sending information in and sending in some of your videos as well. This is a live look here at Julian. A lot of people outside right now. And again, it's been about almost an hour. We're seeing one of the fire apparatus there going through downtown. That's CAL FIRE. We just got off the phone with CAL FIRE, Mike Cornett, who explained basically what they do after an earthquake happens. After an earthquake this large happens, again, they go ahead and go through their checklist just to make sure all of their crews and their equipment are safe. And then again, if you have an emergency, of course, don't hesitate to call 911, but of course they are aware of the earthquake. And they will be assessing the nearby neighborhoods and whatnot just to make sure everything is okay. Someone sent me an email as well saying that some of their animals have also reacted to the earthquake, and that is typical. Of course, I had to check on my dog to make sure my dog was okay, and thanks to my mother-in-law who's also watching the house, dog and family are okay at our home. And this is here from up in Escondido. Fortunately, no one was home at this hour, but we're seeing the shaking and we're definitely hearing it as well. Minor damage reported in some businesses. We are getting that information here. This is in Escondido, but I am getting some folks out of county who are checking in if we are. I am fine, guys, so don't worry about that. But thank you for checking in. But again, this was felt all the way up in Orange County, up in LA, and even through Temecula as well. I'm checking in on my email here, and it looks like, we're getting more people who have said they felt it even throughout out of county. And I'm glad that the folks emailing me are safe. Again, a 5.2 earthquake felt across the county, epicentered near Julian. You see the aftershocks there, anywhere between a 2.5 to a 3.5, one of the bigger ones here, a 3.5, centered about 7 kilometers outside of Borrego Springs. As we hit close to 11 o'clock, we are going to continue our coverage of the large earthquake felt here in San Diego County. We'll be bringing you all angles and also have more live coverage from our 10 News team. We are going to reset here and bring you more news at the top of the hour.
ABC 10 News starts now with breaking news.
And thank you so much for staying with me. I'm Melissa Masiha, bringing you live coverage here of the earthquake that struck just within the past hour in San Diego County. It was a magnitude 5.2, and we are getting a lot of information, a lot of video coming in right now. We do want to go to our Marie Coronel, who is joining us here with some information that she is monitoring online. Marie.
Yes, Mel, we've been monitoring social media, as that is how many of the agencies are getting the word out. Here, Governor Newsom's press page saying that Governor Newsom has been briefed about the earthquake here in San Diego County. It's also saying that the state is coordinating with local authorities to assess any damage and if emergency response is needed. We've also been keeping a close eye on SDG&E's outage map website to see what the impacts could be from this earthquake. Here on the outage map, we are seeing there is an outage in Julian in the Santa Isabel area. There are about 490 customers who are out of power. This started just after 10 o'clock, which is also after the earthquake. It is saying that the cause of the outage is still unknown, but they are estimating that the services will be restored by 1:30 this afternoon. When you do look on social media, a lot of people are saying that this was the largest earthquake they have felt since living here in San Diego. We've also been keeping an eye on the different school districts, the different agencies. A lot of the law enforcement agencies are saying, and they're asking people to keep the emergency lines clear so that if someone does have a true emergency, they can get through. If it is a non-emergency issue, they are asking that people call the non-emergency line. We, of course, will continue to monitor what we're seeing on social media. We also have crews that are out there trying to gather the information for themselves out there in the neighborhoods. And as soon as we get that information from them, we will definitely bring it to you, Mel.
All right, Marie, thank you so much. Right now, you are taking a look at some video sent to us by Dylan. This is Mountain Spirit Liquor. This is in Julian. And we're seeing some of the inventory that fell off of the shelves. Hopefully, the damage is just contained to this. I know at this point, a lot of people still have to take a closer look at their buildings, make sure all of their water and their gas lines are all intact. But again, this was near Julian and our mountain areas. This is near where the epicenter was, a few miles outside of that. So hopefully, Dylan, hopefully your business is okay beyond that. We are getting some other video here. I believe we have video from El Cajon that Jerry sent us. Actually, this is Escondido. All right, this is Escondido here, and you can just hear the earthquake, and I think that's what caught a lot of people, because this one was pretty loud. I mean, I've experienced numerous earthquakes here throughout my lifetime in San Diego County, and this was one of the larger ones that I do remember in recent years. Again, this is up in the North County. We also got some video in El Cajon. This is in the East County, and this just shows some of the shaking that we all felt. And just how loud it was. So hopefully, Jerry, thank you for sending us this video. Hopefully everything is fine at your home. If you do have any video or if you have any comments, feel free to send them to me as I continue to bring you coverage here throughout 10 News Midday. Marie Cornell also tracking a lot here online. Let's go ahead and check back in with her. Marie.
All right, Mel, so again, at this point, there is only one reported outage on the SDG&E outage map, but as we are monitoring social media, a lot of the different agencies say at this point they are assessing for any damage. Again, as we mentioned, governor's office saying they are coordinating with the local authorities to see if there are any damages or if there are any injuries. We have reached out to the different school districts. I had reached out to the Sweetwater Unified School District as they are back in session. Remember, a lot of schools went back to school. We have schools in the Diocese of San Diego. They are on spring break. So a lot of calls are being made at this point as we are trying to make sure everyone is okay and to see if there are any reports of any damages. But again, to reiterate from the local law enforcement agencies, only call 911 if it is an emergency. If it is not an emergency, please call their non-emergency lines. Mel.
All right, Marie, thank you so much. We'll check back in with you in a little bit. We do have Olivia Gonzalez-Britt. She is monitoring our traffic on this midday. Olivia.
Good morning, Mel. Yes, we are tracking just north of Julian. We have two hazards. One is on the California 76 southbound between Public Road and CRS 7 Grande Road. There is a road block due to debris. We don't know if this is because of that earthquake, but we are trying to get more information on that hazard. Then over by Valley Center on another road, another lane is blocked due to a landslide on the Valley Center Road northbound at Woods Valley Road. So these are two hazards that have been reported by the CHP. We're trying to get more information of that. This is like not too far from the epicenter of the 5.2 earthquake that we felt earlier about an hour ago. We're trying to get more information on that. I'm also tracking what the waves look like. People are concerned about tsunami threats. We are a coastal region. I had friends living in PB that were texting me, should I be driving inland? And we've spoken with people over the phone that, they say that there is not a threat right now. And that is what I'm tracking as well with the surf outlook right now. But Mel, we'll get back to you, try to get more information on those two hazards on the road.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we do have UC San Diego professor Alessandro Palermo on the phone joining us right now. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, hey, thank you so
morning.
much. Thank you so much for joining us on 10 News Midday. Let's talk a little bit about bridge safety when it comes to events like this. What are some of the things that need to be monitored?
This event, we had a 5.2. These are I would say they are moderate earthquakes. So we're talking about a modified Mercalli intensity level 6, which means there is not expected severe damage. But in important structures like bridges, obviously there is always need to check, especially the bridge piers, the columns, let's say the substructure that sustain, the roads, the deck, because these are the key elements which are transferring, taking the energy of the earthquakes.
And can you tell me, especially here in Southern California, how are these types of structures, and we're taking a live look here at the Coronado Bridge, but when it comes to bridges in general here in Southern California, how are they meant to withstand or survive these types of earthquakes, this type of activity?
Yeah, the bridges are designed according, to the Caltrans design manual, and they are pretty well designed with a very conservative approach. The damage on the bridges will depend on the importance of the road. So the bridges on the State Highway 5, even in a far larger event, they will probably suffer minor damage. But there are other bridges which are less important, will suffer more damage, and therefore there could be disruption in the road. But generally, all the bridges are designed to maintain, obviously, with the priority life safety, and in a scenario like this, in this earthquake is more like a serviceability limit stage, means that you expect that this is you have operational level earthquake. So it's very low intensity, so the structure shouldn't have any damage. So if there is damage in some structures, means that probably the structures have some vulnerabilities.
All right. And obviously this happened on a Monday. Can you tell me some of the things that maybe they'll be doing long term just to make sure that we are prepared for the next time something like this happens? Because we know, living here in Southern California, this is definitely, and it's not our first earthquake, definitely not going to be the last one.
Yeah, I think, I always think like as a citizen, I just moved to San Diego 2 years ago, but I lived in New Zealand. I went through 4 earthquakes, and I learned that you need to be prepared, like have water, all have the essentials, because, we are a very active area, right, an active zone, so you need to be prepared. And you also have to be extremely careful. Think about that whenever there will be an earthquake, strong severity, you may have disruption, some roads will be closed, so you have to think about, having all the essentials with you, because there may be challenges, and we are very well prepared, I would say, especially if you think about the bridges are designed extremely well by Caltrans, but we don't know what nature is bringing to us. So we always have to be very conservative and make sure that we have all the basic needs for us in case that we have disruption and we can't reach back our home.
All right, Professor, thank you so much for joining us here on 10 News Midday. We appreciate your time. Right now, we do want to go to ABC 10 News reporter Perla Shaheen, who is joining us live there. I believe, Perla, you are near downtown.
Hi, Melissa. Yeah, we're at B and Union downtown, where we just heard hundreds of construction workers had to stall their work on this luxury apartment complex behind me. I'll take a step aside so you can see some of them walking off. We are told by HMT Electric, it's one of the construction companies here, that hundreds of workers had to stall their construction when that earthquake hit. They are now taking a second to get a head count of everyone in the building. They told me this is a normal protocol when a natural disaster happens, to make sure that everyone is okay. This is a 36-story high-rise coming into downtown. It's a luxury apartment complex. A representative tells me that hundreds of people were in there working on it at the same time, but of course they need to be careful in these types of situations. You know, there's a lot of loose debris, lumber, different materials that they're using to put together this building. So they want to make sure everyone's okay in the midst of this process. So far, they told me that it sounds like people are doing okay. They haven't been able to check on everyone just yet. They're still trying to get all of these men out of the building. But so far for now at Union and B, it seems like everything is under control, but still waiting to get an official update from one of the representatives here at HMT Electric.
Out there in downtown, what's the mood like? Has anyone come up to talk to you? Because it was quite a jolt.
Talking to them, I asked, is this protocol? And obviously we have some earthquakes in California, but the representative told me it was pretty shocking to experience such an extreme jolt in downtown San Diego. They are obviously working on a pretty high-rise building down here. It's a luxury apartment complex, so the potential for some serious damages was pretty high, but thankfully they're all telling me that things are okay, and it sounds like they're doing all right. They just followed protocol as was, and there are about like 20 companies here working on this building, so they have a lot of people to check in on right now.
All right, Perla, hopefully everyone out there is safe. I can't imagine being that high up in a building when an earthquake like this strikes. All right, it's 11:13 right now. Maybe Perla will go ahead and check back in with you a little bit later. All right, we do have some new video here from El Cajon. Thank you to Leticia for sending me this video. And this just kind of shows basically how strong this particular earthquake was, and so much so that it was able to knock the camera off to its side. Leticia, hopefully you didn't have any damage there to your home. You are in the East County. Again, thank you for sending me this video here from El Cajon. Hopefully everyone there is okay, and hopefully your property is okay as well. We do have Dr. Pat Abbott, who is going to be joining us here by phone at 11:14 on this midday, on this Monday. Dr. Abbott, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, Dr. Abbott, you know it all. You are the go-to guy for people trying to put this in perspective. Can you give us a little bit more about this quake, this 5.2?
Well, this is an earthquake on a fault that has a long history of doing big earthquakes and even larger ones than this. So in the same sense that we say we cannot predict earthquakes, we had no idea whatsoever this was going to happen today. On the other hand, once it has happened, we say, well, this is a totally expected event. It's not even as large of an earthquake as one might expect on this fault. This is a fault that could easily do a magnitude 7. And if we look back 15 years to the Easter earthquake at that time, that was not on this named fault, but it was on this exact same trend. It was a 7.2 magnitude. So what we have here is, I think, what I'd call if I may, a typical day in San Diego, where you get up in the morning thinking, will there be an earthquake today? And there was. Didn't know it was coming today, but hopefully everybody's mind knows that when the earth begins shaking, what's the first thing you think about? What can fall on me? What can be thrown at me and hurt me? How do I protect myself? And of course, what we commonly sell or try to push is the drop, cover, and hold on. So you get underneath that desk, get underneath that heavy table, get under some place where if things do fall, they won't hurt you. And so here was one of those kinds of events, an event of, in a way, this is, I don't really mind an earthquake like this as long as nobody really got hurt and there was no big damages, because it's a good reminder of bigger things that will be coming at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned that Easter earthquake. I cannot believe that was 15 years ago, because I remember that one. That one felt a little bit more like a rolling earthquake. Ooh, 15 years ago. So quite a difference. And what have we learned from then to now?
Well, what we have learned is basically not just from our earthquakes, but other earthquakes that occur around the world. When New Zealand was hit hard by earthquakes, when Japan was hit here in 2011, when any place where buildings fail or serious damage occurs, people from around the world go there to look and see why did this fail? Where was the weak point here? Why did this building? Why did that bridge come down? And then you try to improve the building codes to say, okay, we'll connect this horizontal element, this floor of this building to the vertical wall. We'll do a better job of tying it together so it can't come apart. It's that kind of a thing. Try to see where mistakes occurred, or not mistakes, but damage, death. Where did the bad things happen during an earthquake? Look at it, try to understand what happened, and then change the building code so we fix it, so it won't happen again where people getting hurt from that same kind of structure.
And I do have to ask you, because of course this earthquake brings reminders of earthquakes past, including the one in the 90s, the Northridge earthquake, which I remember vividly. I remember that time the freeway, it buckled. Has anything been done in particular to freeways to improve their stability?
Oh, most definitely. And it's interesting you bring up that 1994 Northridge earthquake. That was a real stunner. I felt that too. I mean, I was 4:31 a.m. I sat bolt upright in bed. I thought a truck had run into the house. It was a huge shake. And as you mentioned, we had freeway bridges collapse. And so that's 1994. So go back in your memory here. You can even look at things like, say, where the I-8 bridge goes over I-5 here. Then we had for quite some time, they're installing a lot of steel cables. And the basics are to tie the horizontal roadbed to the vertical supporting upright to make them more one unit, so that the vertical doesn't shape differently from the horizontal, and they shake together as one unit, and thus hold down the damages that occur. So a whole lot of stuff has gone on. Folks may remember, too, just driving up Interstate 8, the 805 bridge. That was out for quite some time, where they dug much deeper pits around the vertical supports, filled those with concrete, added a lot of steel cables to tie things together. So in other words, a lot of recipes have been done. And theoretically, that's great as taking care of the problem. But of course, from every time there is an earthquake, then we learn if something wasn't learned, or we need to do something else. But basically, we learn from our mistakes. We go see what went wrong, and then try to make sure that exact same situation does not happen again.
Yeah, always a good reminder. Dr. Pat Abbott, please stay with us here by phone. We do want to check back in with you. Right now, we do want to go to break with much more of the 5.2 earthquake that happened earlier this morning. Stay with us.
All right. What's going on? I need to get the numbers up. All right, this is a very dangerous situation. Very dangerous. People are running in fear.
These things work. So, I mean, at least we're getting alerts, right? When I was younger, that was not a thing. So at least that's not happening. And so it's just a matter of where, it's just a matter of where you are based on when you're actually receiving it.
All right, Lisa. Well, again, this serves as a good reminder to just be prepared. Are you by yourself, Lisa, by any chance?
I am. My husband's at work, and he said at his office, it was shaking at his office as well.
All right, Lisa.
And he has a bunch of patients there, so he was like, I got to get my patients, just in case, into a safe place.
All right, so
hey, everybody, welcome, everybody. Catastrophic, crazy earthquake. It's insane. Join, share now. Come on.
So with these 4 steps, number 1, secure your space. Find items that will easily move during an earthquake. The state says to think about what would be useful, right? If your home was turned on its side, and secure those items.
Yeah, you want to make sure you don't have any glass items like on the shelves or anything, any glass, period, that could fall and break and really hurt you. Also, create a disaster plan. So some suggestions are
disaster plan. Here's a video. Oh, I feel like we've been showing this. Damn, look at this one. Wow. Shaking all over. Let's see what else we got. Trending. Trendaragua. Yeah.
retrofitting. Also create copies of your IDs and your insurance records. Print those photocopies of items in your home. That way, that will help you if you have to file an insurance claim. So those are some good tips on what to do before, during, and after an earthquake.
All right, we want to touch base with our McCollum Medina. He's in Long Beach. Mac, you felt it, but you are one of the many people who are prepared for an earthquake.
Yeah, listen, when I first
what you got in the house
more than 20 years ago, earthquakes had always been part of my forethinking and considering what happened in Northridge. So I've always tried to an earthquake kit. I always make sure I have some water and that kind of stuff supplied down at least in my storage unit here in my building to make sure if the big one hits or anyone really hits, I'm prepared for it in some way or fashion. But here in Long Beach, I felt a jolt, and as I mentioned earlier, I thought it was, some sort of large truck that maybe was driving by or maybe potentially had hit the building. And that's kind of what I felt down here. And, I mentioned that I was ironically doing research about the 1933 earthquake just a couple of days ago because that devastated much of Long Beach here on Ocean Boulevard. But my building, which was built in 1928, actually survived that earthquake, and it was retrofitted a couple of times since 1933 to sustain another large earthquake as well. So it was just ironic that I was doing that research when we felt this one hit as well. But it's incredibly important that everyone, especially now when you have a quake like this, it should at least remind you to start making sure your earthquake kit is back up to par. Food that maybe is not good anymore, maybe replenish that. Make sure you have enough water back in your earthquake kit. They always say if in case of the big one, they want to make sure you have stuff that'll sustain you for at the very least a couple of weeks because they don't know how long water or electricity or gas might be restored to different areas when they're hit by a very large earthquake. So considering all of that, now's a good time to actually take a look at what you got and making sure you're prepared for potentially that next big one, because I always say it's not actually if it's going to happen, but when it's going to happen. So this is a reminder to be prepared just in case it does.
Absolutely, McCullough, and those early warnings are no good if you don't drop, cover, and hold. Let's check back in with meteorologist Melissa McGee, who's been informing us about the reports here. They got to be well over 30,000 at this point, right, Melissa?
Oh, yeah. They continue to grow, Michelle, as we've been on the air now. More than 35,000 reports of quaking because of the earthquake we felt a little bit after 10 o'clock this morning, so just to the south of Julian. So in terms of this being a 5.2 magnitude quake here, what we see with something like that is some moderate damage across the region, and it will likely be minor in terms of damage. If you look on your scale, moderate, it's felt by nearly all dishes and maybe some small glasses broken and just some small damage to some well-designed buildings in and around the area of Julian, California. Michelle asked me how many people have felt it so far. This certainly needs to be updated on the fly because the information is coming in on the fly. So now we have more than 35 reports of either a jolt, a short but strong rumble, or a rattle across the area. And in terms of this being on the kind of fault it was considered to be a strike-slip fault. So it's trilateral of the San Andreas fault, meaning when the quake happened, you could see the rock builds around the fault move side to side or parallel to each other rather than moving up and down when you're dealing with an earthquake like this. So, of course, we all got the alert. It was initially factored in as a 6.0, and that was downgraded to a 5.2. And we've seen about 7 to about 8 aftershocks in the wake of this. Something else to keep in mind as we go on with hours in time.
Second earthquake?
Since the beginning of the quake, it's important to note that there's just a 5% chance of a stronger quake happening in the same area shortly thereafter the initial quake. And so far, the magnitude that we've seen has been anywhere from 2.5 to 3.0, and the initial quake is 5.2. So that's some good news in that regard. Let's get quickly to your 7-day forecast for the basin, Inland Orange County, and the coast. 69 degrees today, a completely different feeling week. We've got low clouds and fog all all the way through. Areas of drizzle Monday through Wednesday, then a chance of some showers as we head into our Friday. The valleys, temperatures in the 70s this afternoon. Same thing for the Inland Empire. On and off clouds and drizzle in the morning. You'll have that once again as you wake up Tuesday morning. And then we'll repeat this pattern with temperatures a good 5 to 10 degrees below average. The high desert, 84 degrees for the high temperature. We've got 94 for the low desert. And then once we look at the mountains, we've got conditions that will be fairly dry today, 64. And then we'll have conditions that will cool off.
That's nice. That's nice. All right. Well, let's see. So the earthquake, I mean, I could prop it up to what it's not, but it's not. It's really, it seems like a nothing burger. Well, you know, it grabbed everybody's attention. Minor damage. So I'm assuming hopefully nobody's hurt. Hopefully nobody got hurt in the incident. California. Today's been busy, man. Today's been pretty busy. So who knows what else we have coming. Oh, this is something I covered on the political channel, but oh man. Wait, what's the guy? There was a dad that was deported, they say supposedly mistakenly, to El Salvador. And they've been wanting for him to come back, and Trump administration said they don't have to honor it. They don't have to bring him back. And let me see here. Gilmar Armando Arbrega Garcia, identified as a MS-13 gang member, was deported. The thing is, the story behind that, it's when he was younger, he was like in that gang or whatever. At 16, he like left and started a whole new life over here. And so they had some type of, he had protection supposedly. So some supposed protection where they couldn't deport him. And they deported his ass. And so, you know, he has a family, kids and stuff, and people were concerned. And so today, Mr. Trump sat down with the El Salvadorian president. And he commented on this whole situation. I actually need to post this.
Well, I'm supposed to be not suggesting that I'll smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right?
It's always here.
They what? I'm not suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States.
It's always here.
How can I smuggle? How can I return him to the United States? Like I smuggle him into the United States?
Oh, because you're the president, man. Should know you're playing games, but I just don't know.
States, or what do I do? Of course.
You know what you're doing, man.
It's like, I mean, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States. Yeah, but I'm not releasing. I mean, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. I mean, we just turned the murder capital of the world into the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back?
Oh, shit.
To the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? No, that's not going to happen.
Well, they'd love to have a criminal, released into our
country. There's a fascination.
They would love it.
Yeah.
Damn.
These are sick people. Marco, do you have something to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, Stephen outlined it. I don't understand what the confusion is. This individual is a citizen of El Salvador. He was illegally in the United States and was returned to his country. That's where you deport people, back to their country of origin. Except for Venezuela, that wasn't refusing to take people back, or places like that. I can tell you this, Mr. President. No, the foreign policy of the United States is conducted by the President of the United States, not by a court. And no court in the United States has a right to conduct the foreign policy.
So yeah, because the court had ruled that, like, I don't know if they ruled that he was supposed to return the guy, or that they made a mistake. I do feel a little bad for the guy, only because this is what I'll say. I mean, if he was here illegally, then I guess it is what it is. But he had come here when he was like 16. I had looked at the story, and he had like started his whole family and life. I don't know why he didn't go through the full process. I guess because he had some type of paperwork that said he could stay here for whatever time, and it was still active, but they went and deported him. So I felt kind of, well, the thing is, because they not only did they deport him, they sent him to the El Salvadorian prison. You guys know what that prison is? I think I covered it on the politics channel. That shit looks crazy, bro. That shit look crazy. Was it? I don't remember which channel I covered it on. My shit's just lost. Deep six. El Salvadorian prison. I know deported by mistake. I covered it on ICML CC, but then there was a video that I did. All right, it's gone to the through. Oh, there it is. I did it on CC. I didn't realize that. Look at this. This is like a picture from the inside of this bitch.
Dozens locking onto you.
Holy
These men
shit.
described as the worst of the worst, tattooed with reminders of El Salvador's dark past. It's tense and uncomfortable. But here, officials say comfort isn't meant to exist.
There's no mattresses, there's no sheets. You've got a toilet over here for them to go to the bathroom.
It's like Squid Games times 100.
You've got this basin here that they use to bathe themselves.
Damn. That's the basin that they bathe in. As I said, you got it in front of everybody. Every time you wash yourself, rinse yourself, you got hundreds of dozens of men watching you, watching the water drop down your ass crack in front of everybody, licking your lips and
And
stuff.
then you can see there's a barrel of water that they can drink from.
What?
This is a rare look inside El Salvador's terrorism confinement center, known as Secot.
Secot.
And he says there's always somebody standing here in front of the cells. And then if you look up, there's another corridor with more security personnel.
That Secot thing is no joke. Oof. So anyway, yeah, this was like a big, I guess, controversy, because even this morning when I first got up, and I kind of browsed the news a little bit, they did a whole prayer for this guy. There was a whole ceremony, I guess, because the president was visiting. Let's see if I can find it just to show you a little snippet. It was this morning. I don't know. Was it the main account? I don't even know now. Anyway, they had some type of thing where they were praying and they were singing. It was this whole thing. And then now I guess this is up to here.
The United States. It's that simple. End of story.
And that's what the Supreme Court held, by the way, to Marco's point. The Supreme Court said exactly.
Oh, it was over 6 years ago? Okay, Blue said the temp status was over 6 years ago. Okay, I didn't know.
Exactly what Marco said. That no court has the authority to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. We won a case 9-0, and people like CNN are portraying it as a loss, as usual, because they want foreign terrorists in the country who kidnap women and children. But President Trump, his policy is foreign terrorists that are here illegally get expelled from the country, which, by the way, is a 90-10 issue.
So that's pretty crazy, man. That guy, oof. I'm kind of curious to see how he'll fare out. Because the thing is, those people over there are probably not happy with him in El Salvador. They're probably really, I don't know if he's going to make it out okay. Let me see here.
Kept showing all his new little teeth and, super happy.
the earthquake
He
thing's
had
kinda
no
over.
idea what was going on. He was just like, okay, fun ride, I guess.
Well, and what
Fun little
really
trip
outside. What strikes me about the video, I don't know if you were watching TV, if you're just kind of staring off into space, but you look like kind of so content just sitting there on the couch, like, oh, it's just another Monday at 10 a.m. And you just, right there, you're just up on your feet, you grab that baby, and you go running. And it just goes to show how quickly our lives can change. Thankfully, you're okay, your baby's okay, you're home, aside from the crack in it is okay. Did you get a warning on your cell phone? Are you signed up for those alerts?
I don't think that I did. I know that I think my fiance did. But yeah, it was so fast. I think we heard it a little bit before it got here.
Quick question about the video. I think I saw a cat running across the screen, going to a different room. How's your cat?
Oh my goodness, she's fine. And that's what I had been watching like two minutes before. She was in there playing with the baby, and they're cute. They're little besties. And, she had just gotten out because he was getting a little abusive, and she was like, I'm tired of playing with you. And so she was sitting on the couch, and it scared her.
Yeah, but no warning. Sometimes they say animals can sense that a quake's coming, but you didn't notice any different behavior in her.
No, not at all. She was maybe. She was with the baby for probably a good 45 minutes playing with them.
Not
He was
the
playing with his
liquor.
balls. They were both sitting in there playing with all his toys. And normally she doesn't want to stick around him too often.
So she got up and picked up the cat.
Normally she's.
Oh, that's the baby. Oh, God.
They were both sitting in there playing with all his toys, and normally she doesn't want to stick around him too often.
The husband's all relaxed and chilling. So he's like walking slow, just taking his time, just used to this.
Because he pulls tails and the whole thing.
Yeah, he's a kid. It's okay. I feel like looking back at this video over and over again, you and the cat had the same instincts to just run the second the camera started shaking, and you guys just like bolted out of there.
Got out of there. Well, the good news is we're hearing now from the mayor of San Diego.
Cat ran too.
The mayor, Todd Gloria, saying there is no known visible or major damage to the city so far, and I'm in communication with local, state, and federal officials. And of course, the same thing was echoed here in LA, that we had no damage. The fire department kind of gave us the all clear there. But you, of course, have the crack there, so there might be some superficial damage inside homes. We saw a liquor store with bottles on the ground that had fallen off the top shelf. But all in all, I mean, I hate to say that, we got lucky this time, because that implies, there will be a time that we aren't lucky. But, that's what Dr. Lucy Jones and the seismologists always tell us, that the big one, it's not a matter of, if, it's a matter of when. And let me ask you, because watching you on that video really jump up, are you going to do anything differently in terms of your plan to be prepared for another earthquake?
I think it's really, for me, is looking around the property and finding where would be the safest place to go, because we don't have as many places to shelter in. And as I was saying before, we have a huge beam that runs through the center of our house that makes me nervous. Because if that were to fall down, that's a life or death situation. So, it's really just finding outside where's the safest place to go, not around trees, making sure that all the kids are out of the house. How fast can you do that? And that's, when something like that is happening, especially if, my other children were in school, they wouldn't have been in school. I don't know how fast I would have been able to grab all of them at the same time.
Yeah, that's true.
Very good point.
Well, Ashley Pinnock, we're so thankful that you were able to hop on a call with us and talk with us. We're glad you're okay. Great instincts, and we really appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you so much. You guys have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. We want to get
so this guy TK. I remember that he had made a song about being on the run or something after a murder. He was found not guilty of capital murder, but guilty of murder. All right, and so that means the capital murder he would have been lined up for the death penalty, but he'll be there for a very, very long time. All right, I'm gonna jump off for now. Take a little break. I gotta clean up a few things around the house, but I will be around if something pops off, something breaking happens. Hopefully I can chill for a little bit. Sometimes I get off 5 minutes and we got to run back on, but we got off for a little bit. We'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much. Bloop, 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 bloop. Bloop, 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 bloop. Adios.